Hello everyone, Paul Akers, and welcome back to our Band of Brothers tour, day 5. We leave Normandy and now we're headed for Belgium. We're actually going to where the Battle of the Bulge was fought. Now we're going to a small little village called Hoffeles, and it is amazing. It's so beautiful, but before we get there, we're traveling along the road and check out these giant windmills. Wow! And you thought the Dutch were good at windmills. I think the Belgians, they got this thing wired. Isn't this absolutely awesome? That's what I love about the drone, is we can get some great footage. When we get into the little village, I put it up in the air. It's just about sunset, and it is such a picturesque town. We walk around. We just love every minute of it. It's just so beautiful. But this was a village that was war-torn during World War II. I flew the drone right up this beautiful little creek with all the geese and duck and everything. It was just fantastic. And the best thing about the drone, it's got this forward-sensing cameras, so it allows me to navigate this pretty successfully. Now on to our journey. So just about 15 minutes from where we spent the night in the Belgian countryside is the beautiful city of Bastogne. Now, Bastogne was the epicenter of the Battle of the Bulge, and where the 101st Airborne Division held off the Germans for days on end. It was a valiant fight, and finally they prevailed. But before we got going, we met our guide Bruno right in the town square, where a Sherman tank was memorialized and had taken a direct hit from a Panzer tank on the German side. Now, these tanks were plentiful, but they were no match for the German tanks. And I was not aware of all these details, but I found them all out as we went around the city and looked at all the interesting things, a memorial to Patton, and then we went over to the Bastogne barracks. Now, these barracks were originally held by the Germans, and then the Allies gained control of them. Now, inside these barracks were just amazing relics of the war. They had a whole restoration program, and they were restoring all these old vehicles, both support vehicles and battle tanks and battle vehicles. It was really an astounding experience to see all this restoration going on. We went inside this one museum, and it was just tank after tank after tank. German tanks, Russian tanks, US tanks. You really got a sense of what the military was all about on both sides. And then when we went into the restoration shop, we saw them restoring a Panzer tank as well. After that, we went down to where the command center was and in the barracks. Now, this was so fascinating. General Patton and General McCulloch stood right in front of this doorway. Now, McCulloch was head of the entire operation in this area, and Patton had come to visit him. Now, these are all the veterans that have come back to the 101st Airborne Division at the Bastogne Barracks. This is the famous Christmas letter and the letter that McCulloch replied back to the German commander about surrendering. He said, "Nuts." And that's what he became world famous for. He basically said, "Not a chance in hell would we surrender to you." And this is the famous Christmas dinner that all the military leaders had. And you see the white stripe on the back of their helmets? That said they were leaders and commanders because they were always out front so the troops could follow them. I love that part of the story. These guys were definitely on the shop floor with their people. And then these were all the armaments that had been uncovered and put into the museum. Next, out into the countryside where the 101st Airborne held off the Germans in a relentless siege in the middle of the winter with snow and everything. It all happened in these woods. We actually went into the woods where the whole battle happened. If you watch Band of Brothers, this is where it all happened. And we actually saw the foxholes that they dug right on the edge of the forest as the Germans were lobbing mortars and gunfire through these woods to them. Here are the actual foxholes. It's just incredible to be there and be a part of this, particularly when you think about how much suffering and how much these people endured. I took the drone out and flew it out to the woods just to get a different perspective. Just really an amazing time. What a day. We went 3 days in Normandy, and then to come to where the Battle of the Bulge was fought and to go into the woods where our soldiers so valiantly defended our freedom and the freedom of Europe. So there you have it, another life-changing day on our Beyond the Band of Brothers tour to the Battle of Bastogne and the Battle of the Bulge.